In a distant galaxy, on a planet called Silara, a group of alien girls lived in a dark, cold place. They were slaves, forced to work for a cruel master. Day after day, they toiled in the fields, picking strange fruits and flowers. Their hands were rough, and their backs ached. They wore ragged clothes and had little to eat. The girls often dreamed of freedom, but it seemed far away. One sunny morning, while the girls worked, a loud noise broke the silence. It was a sound they had never heard before, like a roar from the sky. They looked up and saw a shiny metal ship descending. The girls felt a mix of fear and curiosity. They had heard stories of humans, fierce warriors from another world, but they had never seen one. Would this ship bring danger or hope? As the ship landed, the girls gathered together, their hearts racing. The door of the ship opened, and a tall figure stepped out. He wore a bright uniform, and his face was serious but kind. This was a human soldier. The girls exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to expect. Would he be like their master, cruel and harsh? Or would he be different? The soldier looked around, taking in the sight of the alien girls. He could see their fear and exhaustion. He stepped forward, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Hello," he said, his voice deep but gentle. "I'm here to help you." The girls gasped. They had never heard such words before. One girl, named Zara, stepped forward. She was brave and always looked out for the others. "You are not here to hurt us?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Not at all," the soldier replied. "I have come to free you. Your master is gone, and you are safe now." His words were like a light in the dark for the girls. They wanted to believe him, but doubt lingered in their hearts. The soldier introduced himself as Captain James. He explained how he had discovered the alien girls while on a mission. "I saw the way your people were treated," he said. "I couldn't just stand by and do nothing." His eyes showed determination, and the girls felt a flicker of hope. But as hope began to grow, so did their fear. The girls had been hurt and betrayed before. What if this was just another trick? Zora looked at her friends, who were still unsure. "How do we know we can trust you?" she asked. Captain James understood their hesitation. "I know you have reasons to doubt," he said softly. "But I promise you, I will do everything to help you. You deserve to be free." His words were sincere, and Zara felt a strange warmth in her heart. Slowly, the other girls began to step forward. One by one, they introduced themselves. Lyra, the shy one who loved to sing; Mira, who was known for her quick thinking; and Ilara, the youngest, who still believed in magic. Each girl had a story, a reason to hope, and a desire for freedom. As they talked, Captain James listened carefully. He asked about their lives and the struggles they faced. The girls opened up, sharing tales of their harsh reality. They spoke of their dreams of freedom, of running in the fields without fear, of laughing and singing again. Captain James listened, and for the first time in a long while, they felt seen and heard. After a while, Zura noticed something in the soldier's eyes: compassion. "You really want to help us?" she asked again, needing reassurance. "Yes," he replied firmly. "I will protect you. Together, we can escape this place and find a better life." The girls looked at one another, their hearts racing with the possibility of freedom. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the fields, Captain James pointed to the ship. "We need to leave soon. Your master's guards might return at any moment." The girls hesitated, glancing back at the fields they had known all their lives. This was their home, but it was also a place of pain. With a deep breath, Zara took a step forward. "Let's go," she said, her voice strong. The other girls nodded, feeling a surge of courage. They were ready to leave their past behind. Captain James smiled, and together they walked toward the ship. The girls felt a mix of excitement and fear. What lay ahead was unknown, but the promise of freedom filled their hearts with hope. As they climbed aboard the ship, the girls looked out one last time at the fields. They knew they were leaving behind their old lives, but they were also stepping into a new future, a future filled with possibilities. The doors closed, and the ship began to lift off the ground. The girls held onto each other, feeling the vibrations of the engines beneath their feet. They were finally free. Captain James turned to them with a reassuring smile. "Welcome to your new life." In that moment, the alien girls felt a spark of joy. They were no longer slaves. They were survivors. They had found a hero in a human soldier. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their journey together. As the ship soared through the sky, the alien girls watched in awe as their home planet grew smaller and smaller below them. They had never seen the world from this height. The fields where they had toiled faded into tiny green patches, and the dark, cold place they had known as home disappeared from view. But even amidst the excitement, a cloud of uncertainty loomed over them. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was tense. The girls were still adjusting to the fact that they were free. Captain James stood at the control panel, focused on navigating the ship. Zara felt a mix of fear and hope. She turned to her friends, who were all staring at the screens, their eyes wide with wonder. "Do you think we will really be safe?" Zara asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Lyra, who had always been the most optimistic of the group, nodded with a bright smile. "He promised us freedom. I believe him. But what if he can't keep us safe?" Mira chimed in, her brow furrowed with worry. "We don't know much about humans. What if he is just using us?" Zara sighed, understanding her friend's fear. They had faced so much pain in their lives. It was hard to trust. "He seems different, doesn't he?" Zara pointed out, recalling the soldiers' kind eyes and gentle words. As if sensing their unease, Captain James turned to face them. "I know this is all new and frightening," he said, his voice steady and calm. "But I want you to know that I will do everything I can to protect you. You are safe with me." The girls exchanged glances, their doubts battling against the flicker of hope ignited by his words. Ilara, the youngest, spoke up, her voice full of innocence. "But what happens if the bad men come after us? Will they find us?" Captain James crouched down to her level, meeting her gaze. "I won't let that happen. I have a plan. We will go to a safe place where no one can find us." His promise seemed to ease the tension in the room, even if just a little. Zara felt a surge of courage as she looked at Captain James. "Thank you for helping us. We don't know how to be free," she admitted, her voice strong. "We need your guidance." "Then I will teach you," he replied, a warm smile spreading across his face. "Freedom is not just about leaving a place. It's about learning to live in a new way. You will discover your strengths." With those words, the ship began to shake slightly as it entered a new atmosphere. The girls clutched each other, their excitement mixed with fear. "What's happening?" Mira asked, her eyes wide. Captain James quickly reassured them. "We're just entering a different part of space. Hold on tight." The ship stabilized, and the girls settled down, feeling the power of the engines beneath them. As they flew through the stars, they began to see strange and beautiful sights. Bright colors danced in the darkness, and glowing planets twinkled in the distance. The vastness of space was both terrifying and thrilling. The girls had never imagined there was so much beyond their planet. "Look at that!" Lyra exclaimed, pointing at a vibrant planet with swirling clouds. "It's beautiful." In a distant galaxy, on a planet called Silara, a group of alien girls lived in a dark, cold place. They were slaves, forced to work for a cruel master. Day after day, they toiled in the fields, picking strange fruits and flowers. Their hands were rough, and their backs ached. They wore ragged clothes and had little to eat. The girls often dreamed of freedom, but it seemed far away. One sunny morning, while the girls worked, a loud noise broke the silence. It was a sound they had never heard before, like a roar from the sky. They looked up and saw a shiny metal ship descending. The girls felt a mix of fear and curiosity. They had heard stories of humans, fierce warriors from another world, but they had never seen one. Would this ship bring danger or hope? As the ship landed, the girls gathered together, their hearts racing. The door of the ship opened, and a tall figure stepped out. He wore a bright uniform, and his face was serious but kind. This was a human soldier. The girls exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to expect. Would he be like their master, cruel and harsh, or would he be different? The soldier looked around, taking in the sight of the alien girls. He could see their fear and exhaustion. He stepped forward, his hands raised to show he meant no harm. "Hello," he said, his voice deep but gentle. "I'm here to help you." The girls gasped. They had never heard such words before. One girl, named Zara, stepped forward. She was brave and always looked out for the others. "You are not here to hurt us?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "Not at all," the soldier replied. "I have come to free you. Your master is gone, and you are safe now." His words were like a light in the dark for the girls. They wanted to believe him, but doubt lingered in their hearts. The soldier introduced himself as Captain James. He explained how he had discovered the alien girls while on a mission. "I saw the way your people were treated," he said. "I couldn't just stand by and do nothing." His eyes showed determination, and the girls felt a flicker of hope. But as hope began to grow, so did their fear. The girls had been hurt and betrayed before. What if this was just another trick? Zora looked at her friends, who were still unsure. "How do we know we can trust you?" she asked. Captain James understood their hesitation. "I know you have reasons to doubt," he said softly. "But I promise you, I will do everything to help you. You deserve to be free." His words were sincere, and Zara felt a strange warmth in her heart. Slowly, the other girls began to step forward, one by one. They introduced themselves. Lyra, the shy one who loved to sing. Mira, who was known for her quick thinking. And Ilara, the youngest, who still believed in magic. Each girl had a story, a reason to hope, and a desire for freedom. As they talked, Captain James listened carefully. He asked about their lives and the struggles they faced. The girls opened up, sharing tales of their harsh reality. They spoke of their dreams of freedom, of running in the fields without fear, of laughing and singing again. Captain James listened, and for the first time in a long while, they felt seen and heard. After a while, Zara noticed something in the soldier's eyes: compassion. "You really want to help us?" she asked again, needing reassurance. "Yes," he replied firmly. "I will protect you. Together, we can escape this place and find a better life." The girls looked at one another, their hearts racing with the possibility of freedom. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the fields, Captain James pointed to the ship. "We need to leave soon. Your master's guards might return at any moment." The girls hesitated, glancing back at the fields they had known all their lives. This was their home, but it was also a place of pain. With a deep breath, Zara took a step forward. "Let's go," she said, her voice strong. The other girls nodded, feeling a surge of courage. They were ready to leave their past behind. Captain James smiled, and together they walked toward the ship. The girls felt a mix of excitement and fear. What lay ahead was unknown, but the promise of freedom filled their hearts with hope. As they climbed aboard the ship, the girls looked out one last time at the fields. They knew they were leaving behind their old lives, but they were also stepping into a new future, a future filled with possibilities. The doors closed, and the ship began to lift off the ground. The girls held onto each other, feeling the vibrations of the engines beneath their feet. They were finally free. Captain James turned to them with a reassuring smile. "Welcome to your new life." In that moment, the alien girls felt a spark of joy. They were no longer slaves. They were survivors. They had found a hero in a human soldier. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of their journey together. "Imagine living on a place like that," Ilara said, her eyes sparkling with wonder. For the first time in a long while, The girls felt a hint of excitement about the future. Captain James watched them, feeling a sense of pride. One day, you might explore these worlds. You will be able to choose where to go and what to do. His words filled the girls with hope. They began to dream of adventures and new beginnings. As the ship continued its journey, Captain James decided it was time to teach the girls more about the universe. "Let me tell you about the places we might visit," he said. He shared stories of distant stars, brave explorers, and wonderful cultures. The girls listened intently, their imaginations taking flight. But amidst the stories, Zora couldn't shake off the feeling of dread. She thought of their old master and the guards who had kept them in chains. "What if they find us?" she asked, her voice trembling. "What if they come after us?" Captain James took a deep breath. "I understand your fear. I promise you, I will not let anyone harm you. I have experience in battles and will do everything I can to protect you." Zora felt comforted by his confidence, but knew that trust would take time. The shadows of their past were still fresh in their minds. The pain of their experiences couldn't just vanish overnight. As the ship entered a safe zone, Captain James turned to the girls. "We will land soon. There's a hidden place where you can start your new life. But first, I need to teach you how to defend yourselves." The girls' eyes widened. "Defend ourselves?" Mira repeated, her heart racing at the thought. "Yes," Captain James replied. "You are strong, and I want you to believe in yourselves. You need to learn how to fight back if anyone tries to harm you again." Zara felt a rush of determination. "We want to learn. We want to be strong." With a newfound sense of purpose, the girls nodded in agreement. They were ready to embrace their new lives. As the ship prepared to land, the girls shared excited whispers about what awaited them. The fear of their past was still there, but hope began to grow stronger. They had a chance to start fresh, and together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. In that moment, Zara realized that with Captain James by their side, they could take on the universe. They were no longer just survivors, they were warriors ready to reclaim their lives. The adventure had only just begun. The ship finally landed on a small green planet called Verda. It was quiet, with tall trees and bright flowers. The air smelled fresh, and the girls stepped out, feeling the soft grass beneath their feet. For the first time, they felt truly free. Captain James led the girls away from the ship and into a clearing surrounded by trees. "This is a safe place," he said, his eyes scanning the area. "No one knows you are here. We can take our time to plan our next steps." Zara looked around, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "What do we do now?" she asked. The other girls gathered around her, eager to hear the soldiers' plan. Captain James nodded, appreciating their enthusiasm. "First, we need to establish a base. You will need a place to stay, food to eat, and most importantly, skills to protect yourselves." He paused, gauging their reactions. "Are you ready to learn?" The girls nodded, their eyes shining with determination. "We are ready," they said in unison. "Great," Captain James smiled. "Let's start with food. Verda is rich in resources. We will gather fruits and vegetables to eat. I will show you how to identify which ones are safe." As they walked through the forest, Captain James pointed out different plants. "This is a berry bush," he explained, picking a ripe fruit. "It's sweet and very nutritious. And this," he said, showing them a green leafy plant, "is good for making salads." Zara took a berry and tasted it. "It's delicious," she exclaimed, and soon the other girls followed suit, trying the fruits and laughing as they discovered new flavors. For the first time, they felt a sense of normalcy and joy. After gathering enough food, Captain James led them back to the clearing. "Now that we have food, we need to think about shelter," he said. "We can build a small cabin from the trees around here." Ilara's eyes widened with excitement. "Can we really build a cabin?" she asked. "Of course. I'll show you how," he replied. "But first, we need to make sure we have tools. Let's look for strong branches and stones to help us." As they searched, the girls began to feel more comfortable with Captain James. He laughed and joked with them, making the task enjoyable. Zara felt her worries melt away. "We are not slaves anymore," she thought. "We are free to create our own lives." After gathering the materials, they returned to the clearing. Captain James explained how to build a simple cabin. "We will use the branches for the frame and leaves for the roof," he instructed. "Teamwork is essential, so let's work together." The girls split into groups, each taking on different tasks. Some gathered leaves while others began stacking branches. Captain James moved between them, guiding and encouraging. "Good job. Keep going. You're doing great." As they worked, Zara felt a sense of pride. They were no longer just scared girls. They were builders, creating their own safe haven. The cabin began to take shape, and with every branch they added, their confidence grew. After hours of hard work, they finally stepped back to admire their creation. The cabin was small but sturdy, nestled among the trees. "We did it," Mira shouted, her face beaming with joy. Captain James clapped his hands together. "You all did an amazing job. This will be your home for now. You have proven that you can work together and achieve anything." But Zara's mind was still racing with thoughts of the future. "What about our training?" she asked, looking up at him. "When do we start learning to defend ourselves?" "Right now," he replied, a serious look crossing his face. "Self-defense is important. You need to be ready for anything. I will teach you how to fight and protect yourselves." The girls exchanged glances, their hearts pounding with both fear and excitement. "What if we fail?" Lyra whispered, her voice shaky. "Failing is part of learning," Captain James reassured them. "You are strong and capable. I believe in you, and I will be right here to guide you." With a determined nod, Zara stepped forward. "We're ready to learn," she declared, her voice steady. Captain James smiled. "All right, let's start with the basics. The first thing you need to know is how to stand strong and steady. Balance is key in any fight." He demonstrated a fighting stance, showing them how to position their feet and hold their bodies. The girls watched closely, their eyes focused. "Now you try," he said, encouraging them to mimic his movements. As they practiced, Zara felt a rush of adrenaline. They stumbled and giggled, but Captain James remained patient, correcting their form and encouraging them. "Good. You're getting it. Remember, it's all about confidence." After practicing stances and movements, they moved on to simple techniques. "When you're in danger, you can use your fists or your feet," Captain James explained. "Let's practice some basic punches and kicks." Zara felt empowered as she threw her first punch. "I can do this," she thought, her confidence building with every strike. The other girls followed suit, their laughter ringing through the clearing as they learned and improved. Hours passed, and the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the forest. They had worked hard, and fatigue began to set in, but the girls were proud of what they had accomplished. They were learning to be strong, not just for themselves, but for each other. As they gathered around the cabin, Captain James praised them. "You all did fantastic today. This is just the beginning. Tomorrow, we will continue your training and work on building your skills." Zara looked at her friends, feeling a sense of unity. "We're a team now," she said, her heart swelling with pride. "Together, we can face anything." The girls smiled, knowing that they had come a long way. They were no longer just survivors. They were fighters ready to reclaim their lives. Hope filled the air as they prepared for whatever lay ahead, confident in the strength they had discovered within themselves. As dawn broke over the planet Verda, the sun bathed the clearing in warm, golden light. The girls woke up in their newly built cabin, excitement buzzing in the air. They had spent the night dreaming of their new lives and what they could accomplish together. Today, they would continue their training with Captain James, and they were eager to learn more. Zara stretched and stepped outside, taking a deep breath of the fresh morning air. She looked around at her friends, who were slowly waking up. "Today is going to be great," she announced with a smile. "We're going to get stronger." The other girls joined her outside, still rubbing sleep from their eyes. Lyra was the first to perk up, her excitement infectious. "I can't wait to learn more fighting moves. Yesterday was so much fun." Mira, always more cautious, added, "I hope we can really learn how to defend ourselves. What if something bad happens?" Zora placed a reassuring hand on her friend's shoulder. "We will be ready for anything. Captain James believes in us, and so should we." As they gathered for breakfast, Captain James approached them with a bright smile. "Good morning, team. Are you ready for more training today?" he asked, his enthusiasm making the girls feel more confident. "Yes," they chorused, their spirits lifting. "Great. Today we will focus on building your strength and stamina," he explained. "We need to make sure you can endure and fight when it matters most." The girls listened intently as Captain James outlined the plan for the day. They would start with physical exercises to build their bodies, then move on to more fighting techniques. "First, we'll do some warm-ups," he said. "Follow me." They ran through the forest, following Captain James as he led them in stretches and exercises. At first, the girls struggled, their bodies still weak from years of hard labor. But Captain James encouraged them, reminding them to push through their limits. "Remember, it's about progress, not perfection," he said as he watched them, his voice steady. "Every step you take makes you stronger." After an hour of running and stretching, they gathered around Captain James, panting but feeling more alive. "Now it's time to practice some strength training," he announced, holding up some large stones. "We'll start by lifting these." Zora looked at the stones, feeling nervous. They were heavy, but she didn't want to back down. "I can do this," she thought. She picked up a stone, feeling its weight. It was difficult, but she pushed through, determined to show her strength. One by one, the girls joined her, each lifting their stones with a mix of determination and struggle. Captain James walked around, offering support and cheering them on. "That's it. You're all doing great." As they lifted the stones, they felt their muscles training, but they also felt a sense of accomplishment. With each lift, they could feel their bodies getting stronger. Zara smiled as she saw her friends pushing themselves, their faces determined. After the strength training, Captain James led them to a nearby stream. "Now it's time to cool down and learn how to be aware of your surroundings," he said. "Awareness is just as important as strength." The girls took a moment to catch their breath and then listened carefully as Captain James explained how to observe their environment. "You need to be aware of any potential threats," he instructed. "Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is." Zora closed her eyes and listened to the sounds of the forest. She could hear the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the gentle flow of the stream. Captain James encouraged them to open their eyes and identify the sounds they heard. "Good. Now let's practice some basic fighting techniques," he said, ready to transition into the next phase of their training. The girls gathered in a circle as Captain James demonstrated different moves, showing them how to punch and kick effectively. "You need to learn how to use your body as a weapon," he explained. "When you strike, aim for the most vulnerable parts of your opponent." Zora focused on his movements, her heart racing. She felt a mix of excitement and fear as she practiced each technique. The other girls were equally eager, practicing punches and kicks under Captain James's watchful eye. After several rounds of practice, Captain James called for a break. "You're all doing fantastic. I can see the strength building in each of you," he praised, and the girls beamed with pride. "Now let's do a little sparring," he suggested, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Zara's heart raced at the thought of fighting each other, but she knew it was an important part of their training. "Let's do it," she said, her voice steady. The girls paired up and began to spar under Captain James's guidance. They took turns practicing their moves, learning how to defend against attacks and counterstrike. Laughter and cheers filled the air as they encouraged one another. Zara felt empowered as she practiced with Lyra. They took turns, each pushing the other to be better. "You're getting strong." Lyra laughed, dodging a punch. "And you're quick," Zara replied, feeling more confident with each move. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the clearing, Captain James called them back together. "You've all worked incredibly hard today. I'm proud of each of you. Remember, strength comes from within, and you have the power to protect yourselves." The girls looked at each other, their eyes shining with determination. They had come so far, and they knew they were becoming stronger every day. "Thank you, Captain James," Zara said, her voice filled with gratitude. "We couldn't have done this without you." He smiled warmly. "You all have the strength within you. I'm just here to help you discover it." As they gathered around the cabin for dinner, they shared stories of their day, laughing and celebrating their achievements. They were not just learning to fight, they were becoming a family, bonded by their shared struggles and triumphs. Zara felt a sense of belonging she had never known before. They were all different, but together they were strong. Together, they would face any challenge that came their way. In that moment, under the stars of Verda, they knew they were ready to reclaim their lives. They were no longer just victims. They were warriors, united in their quest for freedom and strength. The sun rose brightly over the horizon, painting the sky in vibrant shades of orange and pink. It was a new day on the planet Verda, and Zara felt a sense of excitement bubbling inside her. Today was the day they had been preparing for, Azadi Ka Din, or Freedom Day. Captain James had told them that this day would be a celebration of their strength and growth. It was not only about their training, but also about marking the beginning of their new lives. Zara could hardly contain her joy as she stepped outside the cabin, breathing in the fresh, cool air. The other girls emerged from the cabin, their faces lit up with anticipation. "What should we do to celebrate?" Ilara asked, her eyes sparkling. Zara thought for a moment, and then replied, "We should have a feast. Let's prepare a big meal together." The girls cheered at the idea, excited to cook and enjoy a special day. They quickly gathered fruits and vegetables from the forest, filling their arms with colorful goodies. Captain James joined them, helping to collect the best ingredients. "This will be a feast to remember," he said, smiling at the girls' enthusiasm. Back at their clearing, they started preparing the meal. They washed the fruits and vegetables in the nearby stream, laughing and chatting as they worked together. Captain James showed them how to cook using stones and leaves as makeshift cooking tools. "First, we'll make a salad," he instructed, teaching them how to chop the vegetables carefully. Zara took the lead, guiding her friends and showing them how to mix the ingredients. They added berries for sweetness and some wild herbs for flavor. As the salad simmered over the fire, they prepared a special fruit dish. "We can make a fruit stew," Captain James suggested, and the girls jumped at the idea. They chopped up juicy fruits and mixed them together in a large stone bowl. Once everything was ready, they set the table with leaves and flowers, making the area beautiful. The smell of the food filled the air, making their stomachs rumble with hunger. Zora looked around at her friends, feeling proud of what they had accomplished together. When the meal was finally ready, they gathered around the makeshift table, excitement buzzing among them. "This is our first meal as free girls," Captain James declared, raising a stone cup filled with fruit juice. "To freedom." They all cheered, clinking their cups together and grinning widely. As they enjoyed their feast, the laughter and joy echoed through the trees. They shared stories of their past, dreams of their future, and how far they had come together. Zara felt a warmth in her heart as she listened to her friends, feeling more connected than ever. After the meal, Captain James stood up, looking serious. "Now that we have celebrated, it's time to reflect on what freedom means to each of you," he said. "Freedom is not just about escaping. It's about having the power to choose your own path." Zara nodded, understanding the importance of his words. "I want to build a new life, where we can be ourselves and help others," she said, her voice steady. "I want to learn more and help others like us," Mira added, her eyes shining with determination. The other girls shared their thoughts, each expressing their hopes and dreams for the future. Captain James listened carefully, nodding in agreement. "Those are all beautiful dreams. Together, we can make them happen." Feeling inspired, Zora suggested, "Let's create a plan for our future. We can decide how to use our skills and help others who need it." "Great idea," Ilara exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "We can be a team that helps other girls escape and find freedom." With renewed energy, they sat down to brainstorm their ideas. Captain James encouraged them to think about their strengths and how they could use them to make a difference. They wrote down their goals, laughing and cheering as they came up with creative solutions. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the clearing, they finished their planning session. Zara felt a sense of purpose filling her heart. They were no longer just girls who had been rescued. They were warriors ready to fight for themselves and others. "Tomorrow, we will start working on our plans," Captain James announced, pride evident in his voice. "But for now, let's celebrate this day." The girls cheered, and as night fell, they decided to have a bonfire. They gathered around the fire, sharing stories, singing songs, and enjoying each other's company. Zora looked at the flickering flames, feeling grateful for the journey they had taken together. In that moment, surrounded by her friends and the warmth of the fire, she realized how far they had come. They had transformed from scared girls into strong women, united by their dreams and desires for freedom. As the stars twinkled above them, Zara closed her eyes, whispering a silent promise. "We will fight for our freedom and the freedom of others." With hope in their hearts and strength in their souls, the girls embraced their new lives, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they were not just survivors, they were a force to be reckoned with, prepared to change the world around them. The morning sun peeked through the trees, casting a golden glow over the clearing where Zara and her friends had begun their new lives. It was a beautiful day on Verda, and the air was filled with excitement and hope. Today was the day they would start putting their plans into action. Zara stretched and took a deep breath, feeling energized and ready for the day ahead. As she stepped outside, she was greeted by the sounds of birds singing and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. The other girls were already awake, buzzing with energy and anticipation. "Good morning, everyone," Zora called out, her voice bright and cheerful. "Today we begin our new journey." The girls gathered around her, their faces glowing with enthusiasm. "What's our first task?" Ilara asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We will start by creating a safe place for other girls," Zara explained, her heart racing with determination. "We need to build a shelter where they can come and feel safe, just like we do now." Captain James, who had joined them, nodded in agreement. "That's a fantastic idea. We can also set up a training area where they can learn to protect themselves, just like you all have." The girls cheered, ready to take on the challenge. They quickly gathered supplies from the forest, branches, leaves, and vines. Working together, they began to construct their shelter. Zara took charge, guiding her friends as they built sturdy walls and a roof that could protect them from the weather. As they worked, laughter filled the air. "I never knew building could be so much fun," Mira exclaimed, her arms covered in dirt, but her face bright with joy. "We are doing this together. It makes it special," Zara replied, smiling at her friends. After hours of hard work, they had built a small but cozy shelter. It was a symbol of their strength and unity. Captain James clapped his hands. "Great job, everyone. This will be a safe haven for any girl who needs it." Feeling proud of their accomplishment, the girls sat together, enjoying a well-deserved break. Zora looked around at her friends, seeing the determination in their eyes. They were no longer the scared girls who had been rescued. They had become strong women with a purpose. Next, they moved to create the training area. They cleared a space nearby, removing rocks and debris to make it safe. Captain James demonstrated some basic fighting techniques again, and the girls practiced with each other, improving their skills. Zara felt her confidence growing with each kick and punch. She remembered the fear she had felt when they first started training. Now she was starting to see herself as a warrior. "Let's push each other to be better," she shouted, urging her friends to challenge themselves. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the forest, they wrapped up their training for the day. They gathered in the shelter they had built, feeling a sense of accomplishment and camaraderie. Captain James smiled at them. "You have all done incredible work today. This is just the beginning. Together, we can create a community that helps others. Let's plan how we will reach out to those who need help," Zara suggested, her voice filled with determination. "We can send messages or even go into nearby villages to let them know we are here." "That's a great idea," Lyra agreed. "We should also teach them the skills we've learned." The girls spent the evening discussing their plans. They wrote down ideas on large leaves, making a list of things they needed to do. Each girl contributed, and soon they had a clear plan to reach out to other girls in need. As night fell, they lit a small fire outside their shelter. The flames flickered in the darkness, creating a warm atmosphere. They gathered around, sharing stories about their hopes and dreams. Each girl spoke about what freedom meant to her and how they could help others achieve it. "I want to be a leader," Zara said, her voice steady. "I want to inspire others to be strong and brave, just like we have become. I want to help others learn how to protect themselves," Mira added. "No one should ever have to feel afraid again." As they shared their dreams, the bond between them grew even stronger. They were not just friends anymore. They were a family united by their past and their commitment to creating a better future. Days turned into weeks as they continued their work. They welcomed new girls into their shelter, teaching them the skills they had learned. Each girl brought her own strengths, adding to the community's power. Zara felt joy in seeing others grow and thrive, knowing that they were making a real difference. Captain James was always there, guiding them and providing support. He taught them about leadership and how to work together as a team. "You are all leaders in your own right," he reminded them. "It is important to lift each other up." As their community grew, so did their confidence. They practiced their fighting techniques regularly and helped each other improve. They created a safe environment where every girl felt valued and strong. One evening, as they sat around the fire, Zara looked at her friends, her heart swelling with pride. "Look how far we've come. We've built a new life for ourselves," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "Yes, and we are just getting started," Ilara replied, her eyes shining with excitement. In that moment, Zara knew they had created something special. They had turned their pain into strength and transformed their lives. Together, they were not just survivors. They were a force of change, ready to fight for their freedom and the freedom of others. As the days passed on Verda, Zara and her friends grew stronger and closer. They had built a community filled with hope, courage, and friendship. Each girl brought her own story and talents, weaving them into a beautiful tapestry of life. They had not only found safety, but had also found a family. One sunny morning, Zara woke up early, feeling inspired. Today, she decided, would be a day to celebrate their friendship. "We need a special day for all of us," she thought. Gathering her courage, she called out to her friends, who were still waking up. "Good morning, everyone. I have an idea. Let's celebrate our friendship today," Zara said, her voice bright and cheerful. "What do you have in mind?" Ilara asked, sitting up with a curious expression. "We can have a friendship day. We'll do fun activities, share stories, and show how much we care for each other," Zara explained, her eyes shining with excitement. The girls agreed with enthusiasm, ready to plan their special day. They gathered together in the clearing, brainstorming ideas for their celebration. "We can have games, food, and a time for sharing our stories," Mira suggested, her face lighting up with joy. "Let's also create something special, like friendship bracelets. Lyra added, her creativity shining through. We can make them for each other to show our bond. With their plans in place, the girls set to work. They gathered flowers, vines, and colorful leaves from the forest. They spent the morning crafting beautiful bracelets, each one unique and filled with meaning. Zara felt a sense of warmth as she watched her friends work together, laughter echoing through the trees. After they finished the bracelets, they moved on to prepare a special meal. The girls worked side by side, chopping vegetables and gathering fruits. Captain James joined them, smiling at their energy. "This looks like a feast," he said, helping them cook. As the delicious smells filled the air, Zara felt grateful for the bond they had formed. "This day is all about celebrating our friendship," she said, smiling at her friends. Once the food was ready, they gathered around their makeshift table, adorned with flowers and leaves. Zara looked around at the smiling faces of her friends and felt her heart swell with happiness. "To friendship," she declared, raising her stone cup filled with fruit juice. "To friendship," the girls echoed, clinking their cups together and sharing excited glances. After the meal, they decided to play games. They organized fun activities, like races and obstacle courses. Laughter filled the clearing as the girls cheered each other on. Captain James watched from a distance, feeling proud of the community they had built. Zara and Ilara faced off in a friendly race. "Ready, set, go," Captain James shouted. The girls sprinted off, laughter trailing behind them. Zara could feel the wind on her face, and she ran faster, wanting to win. Ilara was quick, but Zara pushed herself, determined to reach the finish line first. With a final burst of energy, she crossed the line, laughing. "I did it," she exclaimed, breathless and thrilled. "You were amazing," Ilara said, smiling and panting. "Let's do another race soon." After the games, they gathered in a circle to share stories. Each girl took turns talking about her past, her dreams, and what friendship meant to her. Zara felt a strong connection to each story, understanding the struggles they had all faced. When it was her turn, Zara spoke from the heart. "Before I met all of you, I felt so alone and afraid. But now, I have a family. Friendship means having each other's backs and supporting one another through thick and thin." The girls nodded, tears glistening in their eyes. "You have shown us what it means to be strong," Mira said softly. "You inspire us, Zara." As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the clearing, they exchanged their friendship bracelets. Each girl placed the bracelet she had made for another girl on her wrist, symbolizing their bond. Zara felt a deep sense of love and gratitude as she looked around at her friends, each wearing their handmade bracelets with pride. Captain James stood up, smiling at the girls. "Today has shown how strong your bond is. Friendship is a powerful force. Together, you can achieve anything." With the night sky now sparkling with stars, they gathered around the bonfire for one last activity. They shared their hopes for the future, expressing what they wanted to achieve together. "I want to help more girls find their way here," Lyra said, her voice steady. "I want them to feel the love and strength we have found. I want to learn new skills so I can protect my friends," Mira added, her determination shining through. Zara felt a rush of emotion as she listened to her friends. "And I want to lead us on this journey," she said. "Together, we can build something amazing." As they looked at the fire, Zara realized that their journey was just beginning. The bond of friendship they had built was the foundation for everything they would achieve together. They were not just a group of girls. They were a family, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. That night, as they fell asleep under the stars, Zara knew that they would always have each other. Their friendship was a strong foundation, guiding them on their journey to freedom and beyond. They would continue to support one another, lift each other up, and face the world together, united as one.